Moore running for Senate, now accused of sexual contact with a 14-year-old girl. Also the famous comedian Louis C.K. and new allegations tonight of lewd conduct. Late today, President Trump's former longtime bodyguard and what he now says about the president in Moscow and the alleged offer of 5 Russian women. Brian Ross reports. Your money and the scramble over taxes tonight. Republicans in the Senate and their own plan just out moments ago. Who wins, who doesn't, and will there be a showdown? Snow and freezing temperatures from Minneapolis to Chicago to Detroit at this hour and moving into the east tonight. The deadly police shootout today on a crowded highway in the Northeast. Just in, the major power failure in Puerto Rico, 80% back in the dark. And new trouble for O.J. Simpson already? Tonight, why has he been banned from a Vegas hotel?
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a Thursday night. And we begin tonight with explosive new allegations of sexual misconduct involving 2 different well-known men. A controversial judge running for Senate and famous comedian Louis C.K. First, Alabama's Roy Moore, now the Republican candidate for Senate. The Washington Post first reporting he's accused of sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl years ago. Fellow Republicans, including the Senate Majority Leader tonight, saying if these claims are true, he should step aside and end his campaign. Tonight, Judge Moore responding, and ABC's Lindsay Davis leading us off.
Explosive new claims tonight that Republican Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore preyed on teen girls more than 30 years ago.
I believe in the Second Amendment.
Moore, who famously flashed his gun at a rally, is a hardline conservative Christian.
Homosexual conduct should be illegal.
According to a report in the Washington Post today, 4 women say they had romantic encounters with or propositions from Moore when he was in his mid-30s, and they were teenagers, including one who was just 14 years old in 1979. Lee Korfman, now 53, tells the Post she met Moore when he offered to watch her during her mother's child custody hearing. At the time, Moore was an assistant district attorney. She says he took her to his house on 2 other occasions, and on the second visit, he took off her shirt and pants and removed his clothes. He touched her over her bra and underpants, she says, and guided her hand to touch him over his underwear. She says she remembers thinking, I wanted it over with, I wanted out. She says she asked Moore to take her home, and he did. Korfman's mother confirmed her daughter's account, which she says she learned about in the mid-90s, to ABC News. Moore calls the allegations by the Post completely false and a desperate political attack, with his campaign adding, it is no surprise that the Democratic Party and the country's most liberal newspaper would come up with a fabrication of this kind. Moore was nicknamed the 10 Commandments judge after refusing to remove a 10 Commandments monument from his courthouse.
Crime, corruption, immorality, abortion, sodomy, sexual perversion sweep our land.
Tonight, outrage from fellow Republicans.
If there is any shred of truth to these stories, he ought to step aside.
Senator John McCain is calling for him to immediately step aside and allow the people of Alabama to elect a candidate they can be proud of.
And Lindsay Davis joins us now. And as you heard, there was strong response from Republicans tonight, but Moore is determined to stay in the race. This election just over a month away. The question, will his name still be on the ballot?
And yes, it would. Even if he decides not to run at this point, his name would remain on the ballot because ballots are already in the process of being printed. Absentee ballots have already been mailed out. So a new GOP candidate, if there were to be one, would have to be a write-in, David.
All right, Lindsay Davis leading us off. Lindsay, thank you. And from the candidate to the comedian, there are also new allegations of lewd conduct against comedian Louis C.K. A short time ago, the premiere of his new movie called off. ABC's Eva Pilgrim on the new claims tonight.
Tonight, more allegations of sexual misconduct now involving popular comedian Louis C.K., who has built a career making crowds laugh about male hypocrisy.
There is no greater threat to women than men. We're the #1 threat to women.
The New York Times detailing accounts from 5 female comedians and performers, all saying Louis touched himself in front of them or asked to do so without their consent. Chicago comedy duo Dana Goodman and Julia Wallov tell the Times they met Louis C.K. at a comedy festival in 2002, and they thought he was joking when he offered to undress in front of them. He proceeded to take all of his clothes off and get completely naked and started masturbating. Louis C.K.'s publicist tells the Times Louis is not going to answer any questions. This comes on the heels of growing accusations against actor Kevin Spacey, now cut from his upcoming movie, All the Money in the World, just weeks before it was set to hit theaters after a Boston TV anchor came forward before the cameras Thursday to talk about an alleged assault involving her son.
Spacey stuck his hand inside my son's pants. Shame on you for what you did to my son.
Eva Pilgrim back with us live tonight. And Eva, I want to get back to Louis C.K. because so far he's not answering questions about these allegations, and there is word that that premiere of his new film has now been canceled.
That's right, David. The distributor canceling the premiere, saying there is never a place for the behavior detailed in these allegations. No word on when or if they will still release this film. David.
Eva, thank you. We move on tonight. Next to the Russia investigation, and tonight we've learned the special counsel's probe now reaching deep into the West Wing, now questioning one of the president's closest aides, senior advisor Stephen Miller. And there is another major headline at this hour involving the president's longtime bodyguard and what he told Congress about the president in Moscow and an alleged offer of several Russian women in 2013. Here's Chief Investigative Correspondent Brian Ross.
A former New York City cop, Keith Schiller, was the bodyguard at Donald Trump's side for years. And he followed his boss to the White House and even hand-delivered the president's letter firing FBI Director James Comey. Tonight we are learning what Schiller says he saw on a trip to Moscow with Trump in 2013 for the Miss Universe pageant. That trip to Moscow figured prominently in the uncorroborated dossier prepared for the Clinton campaign, which includes allegations that Trump, while staying at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Moscow, employed a number of prostitutes. Tonight, congressional investigators say Schiller told them a well-connected Russian businessman offered him 5 women for Trump, but that he rejected the offer, believing it was a joke and that he never told Trump about it until several hours later. Trump himself has denied the salacious allegations, saying he knew there were cameras hidden in the rooms.
I was in Russia years ago with the Miss Universe contest, which did very well. Moscow, the Moscow area, did very, very well. And I told many people, be careful, because you don't want to see yourself on television. Cameras all over the place.
Schiller told Congress he stayed outside Trump's hotel room for about 5 minutes that night and saw no one go inside.
And Brian Ross with us tonight. Brian, that bodyguard Keith Schiller did leave the White House a few weeks ago, but tonight we are learning that the special counsel, Robert Mueller, has now interviewed one of the president's inner circle inside the West Wing.
Stephen Miller, that's right, David. Miller is in the president's complete inner circle. He was at Trump's side throughout the campaign, and he was deeply involved in crafting the president's defense of his decision to fire FBI Director Comey. Something of great interest, David, to the special counsel.
Brian Ross back with us again tonight. Thank you, Brian. We turn now to your money, your taxes tonight. And this evening, Senate Republicans are just out with their plan after House Republicans gave theirs. Who wins, who doesn't, and is there now a showdown looming? Here's ABC's Mary Bruce.
With Republicans in a rush to pass tax reform, the Senate tonight is unveiling its plan.
The hard-working American gets to keep more of her money.
The Senate plan includes President Trump's top business priority, slashing the corporate tax rate from 35% to 20%, but it delays that cut until 2019. As for individuals, the Senate plan keeps 7 tax brackets and lowers most rates. Critics and experts say the wealthy will benefit most, but the White House...
I don't believe that we set out to create a tax cut for the wealthy. If someone's getting a tax cut, I'm not upset that they're getting a tax cut.
The Senate plan keeps popular deductions for medical expenses and student loan interest, but gets rid of all individual state and local tax deductions. The states likely hit hardest: New York, New Jersey, California, and Illinois. None of them have Republican senators.
What do you say to middle-class Americans who may be worried that they could actually see their taxes go up eventually under this plan? Can you guarantee that that won't happen?
I can't guarantee that.
According to a new analysis of the House version, in 10 years, 1 in 4 Americans would end up paying more taxes than they do now.
So let's get to Mary Bruce live on the Hill tonight. And Mary, we heard what the president said before his trip, that he wants to sign tax reform by Christmas. But there's some pretty big differences between the Senate plan we saw late today and the House plan.
Yeah, David, and the House today announced they will vote on their bill next week, but big discrepancies remain between these plans, including how much they cost and what they'll do to the deficit. Hammering this out is going to be a big challenge, and Republicans know they cannot head home for the holiday empty-handed. David?
Clock is ticking. Mary Bruce, thank you. President Trump, meantime, overseas in China, the warm welcome, and from the president there, what sounded like an about-face from what he said about China during the campaign and trade. ABC senior White House correspondent Cecilia Vega traveling with the president.
It is the very country he repeatedly slammed as a threat to America. But today, President Trump had nothing but love for China and its leader.
There's a very good chemistry between the two of us, believe me.
At an opulent state dinner, he even played this video of his granddaughter Arabella singing in Mandarin. For the president who loves a military parade, a lavish welcome. It's a far cry from candidate Trump.
We can't continue to allow China to rape our country, and that's what they're doing.
But today,
I don't blame China. After all, who can blame a country for being able to take advantage of another country for the benefit of its citizens? I give China great credit.
Instead, he blamed past American presidents, and I asked if he still stands by that comment from the campaign.
Do you still believe China is raping the United States, Mr. President?
But no answer.
And Cecilia Vega in Beijing tonight. And Cecilia, the president now heads to the Asia-Pacific Summit in Vietnam. And one of the major questions, will he sit down with Vladimir Putin?
Well, David, President Trump had told reporters he planned to meet with Vladimir Putin there in Vietnam to push him for help on North Korea. The Russians say Putin is ready for this meeting, but Secretary of State Rex Tillerson, David, tells us this meeting is still under consideration.
All right, Cecilia Vega with us. Cecilia, thank you. Back here at home tonight, the major Arctic blast in the Midwest moving into the Northeast tonight. A dangerous commute in Gaylord, Michigan, among other places. So let's get right to meteorologist Rob Marciano tonight. Hey, Rob.
Hey, Dave, it's going to feel a lot different here tomorrow night, that's for sure. We've got those winter storm warnings that are still up across Wisconsin and Michigan, where you saw it was still snowing there. The cold air pouring south and east. Lake effect snows will be cranking. But look at the temperatures in Chicago tomorrow. Teens, 20s in St. Louis, Cincy, and Pittsburgh. Flash freeze likely across northern New England and upstate New York. Dangerous driving there by Saturday morning. Record lows Boston, New York, Philly, and D.C. in the 20s. With the wind, it'll feel like near zero. That is shockingly cold stuff for mid-November, David.
Rob Marciano with us. Rob, thank you. We are learning of a troubling new setback for Puerto Rico tonight. A major power failure. Almost the entire island now back in the dark. Nearly 3.5 million American citizens live there. And tonight, the Texas couple who saw our reporting and what they've now done. Tonight, authorities in Puerto Rico have confirmed more than 80% of the island is again in the dark. After that major power failure, it's been nearly 2 months now since the hurricane hit. Our visit 2 weeks in, President Trump was about to land there. And what we found just 15 minutes from the airport.
Buenas tardes.
We had heard apartment buildings in San Juan were still without power, without running water. The stairwells dark, the hallways too.
Hola.
Lisbeth Vasquez Delgado lives in New York City, but she was there taking care of her parents. President Trump had just tweeted, all buildings now inspected.
We had heard that inspectors had been visiting some of these buildings all over Puerto Rico. Have you seen any inspectors?
No, not at all. They have not come to see what has happened to these apartments.
Inside her parents' tiny apartment, we saw the windows blown out by the hurricane. In the bedroom, her parents Elmer and Gloria in need of medication.
This is the first medicine?
This is the first medicine.
And it's Motrin.
Down the hallway, residents carrying flashlights. We step over a doorway blown in by the hurricane. And tonight, with most of Puerto Rico again in the dark, 1 in 10 on the island still have no running water. And a couple from El Paso, Texas, seeing Lisbeth on the news, calling her and telling her they would pay to fly her and her family back to the U.S. for help. Our camera there as she packed.
All changes hurt, but I know we're going to be much better.
Tearful, she tells us she can now get her parents medical help. Her building had just got the power back an hour before she started packing. While back in New York, Angel Gomez and his wife Patsy were both waiting for Lisbeth at the airport.
When I saw them on TV, it really broke my heart. I mean, I really felt like doing something instantly.
Right there in the airport, they meet.
I still can't believe it. I'm here, and I still can't believe it.
Back in Puerto Rico, that new headline, another major power failure. And we remember what Lisbeth told us, the promise as she was packing.
I can come back and help others.
And about that power failure tonight, that small Montana company involved in the power restoration tells ABC News that, quote, none of the issues reported today with the outage have anything to do with the repairs Whitefish Energy performed. We'll stay on it. There is still much more ahead on World News Tonight this Thursday. Is O.J. Simpson in trouble already, just weeks after being freed? Simpson kicked out of a luxury hotel in Las Vegas. Why he's now been banned for life. The deadly police shootout today on a crowded highway in the Northeast. We have new details coming in. And trouble for O.J. Simpson, released from prison just weeks ago. Why has he already been banned for life at a hotel in Las Vegas? Here's ABC's Jim Avila.
Tonight, O.J. Simpson banned from a Las Vegas hotel.
Oracle's here. Cosmo near the Jockey Club.
Simpson spent several hours at a bar restaurant before leaving at midnight. It's not known why the hotel has banned Simpson. He could be arrested if he comes back on the property.
I've never had an alcohol problem.
Since his release, he's been seen in numerous Vegas hotels, posing with fans. At his July hearing, parole conditions were made clear. One of them, no excess drinking.
I've been drinking 9 years and I haven't missed it.
The person who took this photo from last night says Simpson did not appear to be drinking, and she didn't hear a commotion. His lawyer says Simpson did nothing wrong.
Everything else that's been reported, completely exaggerated, made up, and false.
Las Vegas police are saying tonight they weren't involved. It was handled totally by the hotel security. Cosmopolitan has no comment. David?
Jim, thank you. When we come back, Senator Rand Paul's attacker in court today, and this evening, how bad were the injuries and now the motive. The deadly police shooting on a busy highway here in the Northeast. And the moment with the First Lady making global headlines. The girls starstruck, not by the First Lady, but who they notice is standing right next to her. Even the First Lady thought it was funny. We'll be back.
Hi, everyone. I'm Leanne Rimes. One of the greatest thrills I get is performing in front of our brave U.S. troops. Knowing that they are right there for us, protecting our great country, fills me with much gratitude. So please join me today in thanking a proud veteran.
DAV honors the service and sacrifices of our nation's veterans.
And the First Lady upstaged by a Korean pop star, Melania Trump, and several girls who notice who's standing beside the First Lady in South Korea. Take a look at the reaction as the girls begin screaming once they realize who's standing right there. The First Lady notices, too. It was the pop star Cho Min-ho, a member of a popular boy band there. The First Lady understanding that. When we come back tonight, no plane, no helicopter, no wings, but the man who takes off without it all. Our reporter witnessing the whole thing.
Hello, America. Billy Ray Cyrus here. And I'm going to tell you something you already know. Our U.S. troops just rock. Their courage, sacrifice, and honor are amazing and inspiring. So come on, join me today in thanking our veterans for their service.
DAV honors the service and sacrifices of our nation's veterans.